This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
I need 3 of those things, baby! We ain't done yet! We ain't done yet!
You like that? You like that? I like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
I'm Ruckus the Menace.
And on this episode, we will have the starting lineup, as usual. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly Clint Eastwood segment. The film room, where we're doing college football and the National Football League stuff, as this week is the start of it. Let's go. And then we have the High Heat, where we talk about our overall summary of our division picks for the NFC and AFC divisions, and also talk about early wildcard race stuff for the Major League Baseball postseason. And then we go into our stud and dud. Spennis, how are we doing?
Oh. I am just a few days away from a vacation, so next week there will be no episode of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast, as I will be in North Kakalaka. With that said, all content that is planned to be released by me during this vacation window has been recorded. With the exception of one thing, and that is week 2 of the New Era in Old DC, which I will be getting to this week, as we procrastinated long enough in trying to wait for the update. That update for week 1 was not going to come until release day for Ruckus's race.
Why'd you have to do this to me?
I would have loved for them to actually take care of all of that on Tuesday. Because Tuesday, I probably, minus a couple of fantasy football drafts, I would have very much considered getting it done. But I digress. And I will also have more things on the pipeline, as I'm leaning towards starting in October. G5 to Natty, from Group of 5 to Natty, the Dynasty Mode segment or series will be increasing uploads, as I am looking at potentially starting in October. And I'm going to have to reconfigure this in the channel, Ruckus, that I'm going to increase the upload speeds of those to 2 a week. To 2 a week, leaning toward Mondays and Saturdays. For that, it is remaining on Saturdays for the entire month of September. But just so I can have the series go just a little bit faster, I am going to increase the load to 2 days a week on that. And I'm pretty sure you would be absolutely okay with that, as it gives us just about something popping out nearly every day in a week.
Pretty much. I mean, besides the fact that I might do a shadow drop at some point. We'll see.
I'm sure there's shadow drops in there. Oh yeah, the shadow drops we don't plan for.
But,
or even like possibly even thinking of some primetime content later on down the line. Who knows? But at this point said, that is something that is on the horizon. I just was thinking of it. I'm like, this series is already pushing into November, And I'm only on year 2, and this may be like 3, 4, 5 years long, possibly. I haven't even gotten my first head coaching thing, and I'm not trying to spoil too much of the results, but I am not a head coach yet. So I got to play out some stuff a little bit faster, try and get through so that if college football 26 is out, I am not switching right over to G5 to Natty again without another reason to say, hey, this one's complete. But speaking of some game results, I'm sure you guys kept right into our primetime game on our YouTube channel. If not, and you did not watch it, bragging rights are mine once again.
I'll sum it up for the people that didn't watch it. The beginning part of it, Spennis was up 2-0, and then near the end of the game, or near the end of that game, I believe it was the 8th or it was like the 6th or 7th inning. We played it. We originally had it for 7 innings, and then it went to like 10. But I decided to pitch hit for David Ortiz on the first base part of things. Got the game. Well, first I got a home run from Gunnar Henderson. We'll just go to that, and then I pitch hit for David Ortiz, and then I tied the game, and then later scored some runs, and then Spennis got a very lucky hit from Nico Goodrum. It was perfect for him, but the pitch was probably not one that you would say would be a home run pitch, but he got very lucky on that.
Oh, I had to tie it up. I had to tie it up in the bottom of the 7th just to even get into that position.
Still, though, got lucky. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, and I probably could have won by a lot more had I stayed very, very savvy and not gotten as aggressive with some stealing of bases and trying to do some overly aggressive base running that Ruckus was somewhat ready for. But I will admit I did telegraph the suicide squeeze, which kind of threw the pitch to the inside. But I should, like, had I made contact with it, I would have won it right then and there on the suicide.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're ready for the Stank Eye segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Absolutely.
Roll the tumbleweed. All right. So, what was good this week in sports?
And I think the good this week sticks to the hardwood, as WNBA rookies are positioning their teams and themselves for some postseason basketball. Caitlin Clark has cemented herself a lot more comfortably into the WNBA landscape. She now has the Indiana Fever in the 6th seed spot with breaking 500 this season, and Angel Reese is pushing the Chicago Sky, who are in the 8th seed. So the notable 2 rookies there at the top of the draft class are leading their teams to being outside of the top of the draft next season. And Caitlin Clark just also set the rookie mark for 3-pointers made. So it's been a really good WNBA basketball season as far as milestones being made and the trail being blazed further, of which anyone who's a fan of basketball, or even women's basketball for that matter, couldn't be happier. And Ruckus, I will get to you for the not so good.
All right, so in my local area, so Osawatomie, Kansas, I've known it more for RC car racing over when I was younger. And nowadays, it's... So, Osawatomie is more of a rural area of Kansas. Let's just get that out of the way. But the reason why Osawatomie, Kansas is involved is because their high school football program had to forfeit their varsity season due to the lack of upperclassmen returning for that sport. So, yeah, that's pretty sad. And the reason why it's bad is because obviously they didn't have enough people to do it, and I think it was over health concern of some sort. I'm sure that, and just going for other sports probably, but yeah, that's why that is bad for this week. Do you want me to go ahead and do the ugly for?
Yeah, go ahead and fire off the downright ugly this week, which pretty much an unfortunate that it involves a rookie and gun violence.
And not to himself either. No Plexico Burris stuff happening, but alright, here we go. The San Francisco 49ers placed receiver Ricky Pearsall on the reserve non-football injury list on Monday, 2 days after he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt in San Francisco. The NFI designation means Pearsall must miss at least the first 4 games of his rookie season as he recovers from the shooting. Parcell was shot near San Francisco's Union Square on Saturday afternoon after a 17-year-old male from Tracy, California attempted to rob him, resulting in a struggle between the two. According to the police department, both Parcell and the suspect were shot as a result of the struggle. After Parcell was taken to a San Francisco hospital, police announced that he was in stable condition. He was upgraded to fair condition on Sunday morning and released from the hospital soon after, less than 24 hours after the shooting.
This is the second rookie in the last 3 years to have had someone shoot them. The previous one was Brian Robinson of my own Washington Commanders, who is now potentially one of the top 2 running backs for the team. This is senseless. I know that people are just trying to figure out a way to get money, and because, yeah, the streets and the times are hard.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is like the worst inflation that we've had in our country in a whole long time. That, and also keep in mind, San Francisco is probably one of the worst areas in the United States for crime. They have the highest homeless rate, I'm pretty sure, and there's a law that's in place where you can steal up to, I think, $1,000 or more and stuff and not get charged for it because of how bad the stuff is around San Francisco.
Oh yeah, but California as a state as a whole, very, very high taxes, very, very high. I'm pretty sure that's where the center of the inflation rate is. And of course, it has, in our government, the most people, the most electoral votes. Los Angeles, notably, is probably where a cause of that is. But for crying out loud, it is one of, and I'm going to say politically here, one of the most democratic states in the country as far as support. So of course you're going to end up dealing with the hard times of inflation. It kind of just makes sense for that area to be highly inflated. It's like people just dream of going that way, but I'm sorry, the grass is not greener on the other side in terms of going west out there.
Also, the Proposition 65 stickers are abundant over in good old Cali. Anything causes cancer.
Yeah.
Anyways, now do we want to move on to thy film room, or were you thinking?
We move on to the film room, where we will be taking care of 2 weeks of content for the film room. This will mean that we have 2 weeks worth of games, to score. And that is because we will not have an episode next week, so the film room will not proceed. So, our first tier will be the Week 2 college football games. And our first one for 2 points, Texas versus Michigan.
Hook 'em. I got the horns, the Texas Longhorns. Hopefully Arch Manning actually makes a full start, because I saw his
he made an appearance in a blowout because Quinn Ewers was already through his time there.
Yeah.
For the game.
But yeah, I want Arch Manning to get more playing time. I understand if, like, they have to get the upperclassmen more looks to make his stakes higher in the college football rankings to the pros. But yeah, anyways, I picked Texas.
Yeah, I am going with da 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 da. Hail to the victors! I am taking the Michigan Wolverines in the big house, and they are at home. They're at home for this one. And Michigan is still a very prominent team in college football. I mean, I love the fact that Texas has Arch Manning, but Arch is not the starter. Quinn Ewers is. I think that Michigan will find a way to control the ball and deal with all the other stuff that they've been going through involving the stuff with Harbaugh and Harbaugh's departure. I will take the Wolverines at home in that game. The next one for 2 points is the Cyhawk game between the Iowa State Cyclones and the Iowa Hawkeyes.
I pick the Iowa Hawkeyes over Iowa State.
I am taking Tight End University as well. And this is a fun one for more so 49ers players, as George Kittle's alma mater is going up against Brock Purdy's. And I'm going with Kittle's for this one. And then our third one for 2 points between ranked opponents, Tennessee and North Carolina State.
I'm going to pick Tennessee for this one, as I think NC is less superior to between the two. I think Tennessee's
fine. I'm taking the SEC power. Tennessee. For week 3 of college football, Arizona versus Kansas State in a Big 12 showdown.
I am picking EMA, every man a Wildcat, K-State Wildcat.
Man, that receiver for Arizona, though. I'm sure you've probably heard about that Arizona. The Tedairoa McMillan, who had a 304-yard receiving game against New Mexico. Caught 10 passes for 304 yards and scored 4 times.
So a no-name team against
Arizona is not necessarily a no-name team.
I'm not saying Arizona's no-name, because like usually that first week you'll have a higher tier team face like a no-name college and pretty much stomp them to the ground.
Oh yeah, but I think that receiver could be the real deal, and I am gonna take Arizona in their newest appearance to the Big 12, taking out, I would say for football, like an above average Big 12 team. I'm gonna take the Wildcats of Arizona.
Boo. All right, West Virginia versus Pittsburgh.
It's the backyard brawl, baby. And we here are supporting Morgantown. Although this game is in Pitt, we are both taking WVU over Pitt.
You gotta support the Pat McAfee man.
But Pat McAfee's a Yinzer, so he's also Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, but he went to West Virginia.
Yeah, he did go to West Virginia.
That's why
During the Pat White days, yep. All right. Alabama versus Wisconsin. We were both in agreement here.
Go Bama.
With Alabama. And the Tide will roll. Our next 2-pointer is a major rivalry game in the state of Oregon. The Civil War. Oregon versus Oregon State.
I picked Oregon.
I also am going with the quack attack of the Oregon Ducks. And we got Coach Prime in his first game with us here for 1 point. Colorado versus Colorado State.
I picked Colorado.
Yep, I took Dion, Shadur, and Travis Hunter. As much as I would love to see the mainstream people here get shut up, I gotta take him against Colorado State. And for the NFL, our opening game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. This one is for 3 points. Our highest scoring game for this session.
Yep. I pick the Kansas City Chiefs because I am a biased, crappy, horrible Chiefs fan that wants the Ravens to lose really badly, even though it probably might be the Ravens. But anyways, that's besides the point. I'm picking the Chiefs.
I'm taking the Chiefs here as well. And that is because this game, number 1, is at Arrowhead. And Arrowhead is a very tough place to play.
Not for the Lions.
Baltimore can play well there, but I think although Baltimore is going to be scarier with Derrick Henry, I think the linebacking core of the Ravens is down, especially after having Patrick Queen go to Pittsburgh. And Travis Kelce, I believe, is going to have a field day in this one. I'm taking the Chiefs. And now to the game in Sao Paulo. Packers, Eagles. Who you got?
I got the Packers mainly because I think Jordan Love and his offense is going to have a field day against the Eagles because the Eagles' defense is a little beat up, and they also lost Hassan Reddick in a trade to the Jets during the offseason, and I don't think they could keep up with the Packers, so I'm taking the Packers.
I think the bigger piece for the Eagles that is going to do well is I think it's going to be their back seven. I think it's going to be their back seven that's going to be really key. And for that, I think the Eagles offensively are better than what they really have shown themselves to be. I'm wondering what Kellen Moore is going to have in store. I think A.J. Brown will have a down game, but it's going to come down to guys like Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, and Dallas Goedert to really step up, and also Saquon Barkley to kind of step up. I'm taking the Eagles in Sao Paulo. We agreed on the next one here for 1 point between the Texans and Colts.
Yep, I believe the Texans are going to probably... I think they make it close because they're division rivals.
Yeah.
But
I don't doubt that for a second.
But I think the Texans probably edge out the Colts.
Yep.
Next one, Jacksonville versus Miami.
I'm taking the Dolphins.
I am taking the Dolphins as well because I think Trevor Lawrence still has something to prove. Yes, he just got Gabe Davis from the Bills as the Bills were trying to conserve their cap space and not necessarily upgrade too much on offense because there wasn't much to do there. And I think the Dolphins, if they stay healthy with the Waddle, Hill, and Wilson Jr. and a few others that I'm probably not mentioning right now off the top of my head, I think they'll be fine. Their defense might struggle a little bit against Jacksonville, but I think Miami edges them out.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a shootout. A lot of trading touchdowns, but I think it's going to be Miami that's going to have the more effective touchdown rate.
Yeah.
And we have another 2-pointer, the Sunday night football game. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions.
I have the Lions as God dang it, what's her name? The singer that does the Sunday night stuff, which I'm probably going.
Carrie Underwood now. It's Carrie Underwood now.
Yep, Carrie Underwood is going to lead those Lions into victory. It's not even going to be over Dan Campbell because they're going to storm through those Rams. They're going to ram them hard. And I picked the Lions.
Taking the Lions because I think that they still are a team darling that is going to be really good. I think the defense is going to be able to apply enough pressure to Matt Stafford, who is more of a sitting duck in the pocket than Jared Goff is. But Jared Goff is a pocket passer, but I think Goff is going to be quicker in getting the ball out. The Rams are going to deal with the bumps of not having Aaron Donald in the middle. And I think that is a huge difference.
That and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he's going to have a great year after what happened last year. I think he's going to double on that.
Amon-Ra is probably going to be the one player that I think everybody is going to really enjoy having if you are a fantasy football owner. And I think he's going to be very, very untouchable as far as people who do have him. The next game we have is the Monday Nighter. And that is the Jets and the 49ers.
I think, and this is a big if Aaron Rodgers manages to last more than 4 snaps in this one, I think they get the edge over the 49ers. I think the 49ers kind of treat this as like as a okay, we got them easily kind of game, and then the Jets kind of just make it into a trap game, so to speak.
You're really going to call this game a trap game?
Yes, because the Jets...
A trap game right away in week 1?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Man, dude's tripping.
Well, that's probably what Aaron Rodgers is going to be doing after 5 snaps this season, so I mean...
man, you're tripping. Man, you're tripping. You're tripping.
I'm not tripping on the same ayahuasca that Aaron Rodgers had, that's for sure. We'll just say that.
I wasn't even talking about the ayahuasca. I think you're just tripping over your own feet at this point. And I'm taking the 49
over Aaron Rodgers' feet. Wink. I'm sorry. So many Aaron Rodgers jokes. Go ahead, finish.
Did you something tells me that a no Diddy or a pause needed to be made there. But I am taking the 49ers. They are still one of, if not the best team in football. And I think that the 49ers are going to show it in every way possible. And I think that even though the Jets have a really good defense, I think that the key is going to be really a lot of the wrinkles that the 49ers are going to be able to put in there. And Christian McCaffrey is still the best running back in the league. I'm taking the 49ers here.
All right. And then week 2.
We have a division rivalry game for 2 points. The Bills and the Dolphins. And I think we have on this one.
So I'm gonna pick the Bills because it seems like every year the Bills just poop all over the Dolphins. Like literally, the Buffalo is just taking a dump on in the Dolphins fish tank. And I think Josh Allen's gonna clobber all over them. Tua has a tendency to also turn the ball over too, but I think Josh Allen is going to overpower the Dolphins defense because of the fact the Dolphins defense is just kind of in shambles. Yes, the Bills did lose a couple of big guys in their defense, but I think the Bills are probably going to edge them out as far as the youth that the Bills have and just their overall defense and offense is going to probably be a little bit better than the Dolphins.
I am a much larger believer in the Miami Dolphins in warm weather. This game is in Miami, and Tua plays better in warm weather.
Oh, when he's not got frostbite on him, on his fin?
Yep, I'm taking the Dolphins here at home. The Buccaneers versus the Lions. I believe we were in agreement here. Detroit.
Yep, those Lions are going to take over that ship and sink it. And it's not even a battleship. It's just literally, I can just picture a lion just jumping over that ship and then just taking out everyone on board. And then, yeah, we're just going to go with that. You're welcome. That
Bengals
probably didn't make any sense.
Chiefs is the next game at Arrowhead.
I am picking the Chiefs, and I'm not going to say that they're going to stonewall the Bengals. I think they potentially win by 3 points on a field goal, but we will just see what happens.
Travis Kelce had to have said this best. And I'm sure you know exactly the line that I'm going to be saying here.
Do you want me to say it for you?
Roll it.
I wish you actually had.
I wish you actually had the actual clip of the jabroni saying it. But Travis Kelce said it best. And I am taking the Chiefs at home in this one, though Joe Burrow has played well in Arrowhead. And I think his SEC and Big Ten experience can show that he is a very Joe Cool type player. But I am taking the Chiefs here at home.
And then also a quick little thing here. I'll actually play the clip.
You jabron's beautiful trophy. Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
All right, I just played the footage of him saying, "Shut your mouth, you jabroni." I was listening to this. I thought you meant Burrowhead my ass.
Yeah, that was kind of where I was. That was actually the real thing I was going with there because because the game is at Arrowhead and it's Joe Burrow playing at Arrowhead, and they had the whole Joe Burrowhead reputation, the Burrowhead reputation. Even though the last time those two played each other in Arrowhead, the Chiefs won.
Yeah, I was ready to go just straight up Burrowhead my ass when you're like when I asked you if you wanted me to say it for you.
Yeah, it was like I'd have thought it'd have been better if Travis Kelce had said it, but if we were allowed to end up running the clip, but that is fine. Colts Packers is the next one.
I think the Packers absolutely take a poop on the Colts, and they blame it on the horse. Packers.
I think with it at Lambeau, I think that the Packers defense is going to have enough to stifle Anthony Richardson. So I am taking the Packers here on the safe side. And then our last game is Pittsburgh versus Denver at Mile High. But it is Russell Wilson returning to his old team's stadium.
Return or more like he just sees all of his shit on the front porch, and it's just like actual belongings and stuff, and then all the other T-shirts and other photos that they had together are just burned.
He's going back to futures past.
And now we got bad blood, and now we got problems. Yes, I just quoted Taylor Swift. Shoot me, I don't care.
Click.
I think I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the bad blood is going to run into the Broncos, as Russell Wilson is going to be cooking with gas.
I am more on the stance of that I think that Russell Wilson will win this game because the defense of Pittsburgh will apply pressure to Bo Nix. Yes, I said it. The defense will apply pressure to Bo Nix and will cause problems in that regard. I am taking
their offensive line
Steelers.
is going to be kind of booty cheeks for the Broncos. And I think the Steelers also probably have a bad offensive line, but probably not as bad as the Broncos.
With that said, we now can move on to the high heat, which is a split high heat, as we will have a small little preview and review. And we also will talk about the MLB wildcard race as we are heading into the final month of the regular season. Let's start with the NFL preview, and we will recap our division picks over the last 4 weeks. And Ruckus?
All right, so for my AFC divisional picks, I have the Houston Texans taking the AFC South, the Bills taking over the AFC East, the Bengals taking over the AFC North, and then the Kansas City Chiefs and the AFC West. No surprise there. And then is it the NFC South?
Yeah, the NFC South. Yep, you you went with the Atlanta Falcons.
And then I went with the Green Bay Packers for the NFC North. And then the NFC East, I had the Eagles. The NFC South, I had the 49ers.
West, you had the 49ers.
West, my bad.
Yep. And for me, I had in the AFC, for the South, I had the Texans. The East, the Dolphins. The North, the Ravens. And the West, the Chiefs. In the NFC, the South, I had the Bucks. The North, I had the Lions. The East, I also had the Eagles. And for the West, I also had the 49ers. Do we stand by those thoughts, or do we have any small adjustments that we may want to make?
I'm good.
I think mine look pretty accurate considering. But who are teams that we feel can potentially be a surprise look? And potentially could win a division out of nowhere.
That's a tough one. Maybe the Buccaneers or the Falcons. I would say probably the Falcons because they've been kind of lackluster ever since their Super Bowl appearance.
A potential win out of nowhere. I'm like, if they can stay healthy and have things be somewhat intact, I still think the Jets could be very surprising. Like, the Jets are good. But I think they'll figure out a way to kind of surprise us with really how good they could end up pulling themselves together with. I think the Titans, especially if they get the passing game going, it could be a sleep on your own peril. The Jaguars are a very interesting case. I think the Broncos might be one of those teams that I think a wild card could fall to them out of nowhere. Especially if some of those teams in the AFC North flop. Another team I could see very well having some come out of nowhere. I think the Bears could have some very interesting flow. If Sam Darnold has finally found his destination in Minnesota, that could be very shocking.
They have Brett Rippon over there too as another backup, so we'll see.
Yeah. But then you also have the potential. But then Atlanta, I think the potential is there. The potential's there, even though the preseason doesn't show for it. But I think there are different philosophies for preseason, and really, I think we should take a lot of preseason with a pinch of salt. But I definitely am going to be very much in agreement that I think there are a couple of teams who very well could have their coaches on the Black Monday watch. And the first couple I definitely have on that is Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon of Arizona and Dennis Allen of the Saints, for sure, are on the Black Monday watch.
He looks like Steve Spagnuolo's stunt double.
Who, Gannon or Allen?
Allen.
Yep. And then who are teams that you feel could potentially have a nice step back?
A nice step back? Probably the Broncos.
Oh, you think the Broncos are going to fall off, or you think they're going to...
I take that back because that's kind of a bad jab at the Broncos. They've already had enough.
I think they could be a very much a win-out-of-nowhere team.
I think the 49ers, if they can't stay healthy, which they've had a track record of having that happen, like especially after they lost the Super Bowl, the next year after they had like 10 people injured on their sideline and ended up not getting far. So I could see the Niners having some injury setbacks, but we'll just have to see how that goes.
I think the first team that I see taking that nice significant step back is one that you have winning a division. I have Buffalo. I have Buffalo in that step back category. I have Cleveland.
MVS the ball.
Yeah, I have Cleveland in that step back category. I have probably the Raiders in that step back category if they hadn't really already taken enough steps back as it is. I also have the Cowboys in that step back category. And I think even either the Rams or the Seahawks, I think, are another one that I think potentially could see like a few small steps back. Nothing too crazy. But I think it'll be a lot of divisional beating each other up. But as far as like a team that I think is going to fall like very flat on their face, for me, the one that I think has the highest likelihood of doing that is Buffalo. I think Buffalo is on watch for that. And I also could say, I think the Seahawks could be on watch for that. Like just having like a complete fall on their face moment. And Cleveland could be another one to watch out for that.
Do you think the Giants could be one of those teams that just falls on their face instantly? Or do they still have to scrape off Daniel Jones from the field as he flops? And
I'm saying as if they hadn't already fallen on their face already. And the only reason why I say that is because the Giants last year were bad. They did not get much better. The new era of the Commanders will surpass them. And I don't doubt that for a second.
All right.
And now we move on to the MLB wild card race. And heading into the final month of the regular season, here are your division leaders. In the AL East, you have the New York Yankees. In the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians. In the AL West, the Houston Astros. The NL East, the Philadelphia Phillies. The NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers. And then to the west side, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Any surprises among those 6 that are still at the top of the heat?
I'm going to say the Brewers because I didn't see them being a team that would actually edge out the Cardinals or the Cubs at all, because with the Cubs you have Cody Bellinger and a few other fan favorites there, I guess. The Cardinals kind of fell off a cliff.
Multiple teams in that NL Central fell off the cliff, or kind of like really just ran like into each other, and really ended up with whoever went out of that collision. No, I was going to say one of those, whoever won out of that collision, I think both cars were totaled.
Yeah.
But I think the shock here, for how slow of a start they dealt with, the Houston Astros just went all shake and bake Ricky Bobby and said slingshot engage.
It probably helped that most of their talent came back from the injured list, even if Kyle Tucker's out for the year. It definitely helped that they got some more talent.
That is true.
Like Jason Hayward and company.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong with that. I just think that the Houston Astros, like, for where they started, for them to be in this position right now, is pretty surprising.
Yep. Yeah.
And now to the AL wild card. We're going to start there. The Baltimore Orioles, at 80 wins, sit atop the AL wild card, with the Minnesota Twins and Kansas City Royals close behind. And they are and the Royals and Twins are separated by a half a game. Boston and Detroit are sitting at 4.5 and 4 and 4.5. And the Seattle Mariners are 5 out. The Rays sit at 6.5 out. The Blue Jays at 8 out. And the Rangers at 9 games out. But the Rangers are 9.5 behind the Astros, and the Mariners are 5.5 back. So the question is, does this race kind of stay stagnated at this point? Or does some team come out of nowhere, get on a hot streak, and push one of the teams that are right there out?
I think, if anything, the Twins get knocked out a little bit, but if the Royals keep their 5-game losing streak going and lose momentum, I think the Red Sox will probably take over that, but we'll just have to see.
But the Red Sox...
A week ago, the Guardians were in a mode, as the Royals were looking to try to get into first place and take them to second.
Yeah. But right now, based on some scoring as we speak, the Tigers are down 1 to the Padres. The Twins are up 4-3 on the Rays, and both of those are in the bottom of early stretches. The Red Sox and Mets are tied at 1 heading into the middle of the third. Baltimore defeated the White Sox. The Astros lost to the Reds. The Guardians, of course, beat the Royals. And the Rangers are playing the Yankees. So we've got ourselves some competitive races. And I think that if the Red Sox can get off the schneid and kind of push themselves a little bit further along, I think the Red Sox could stand a chance. I think the Detroit Lions Detroit Tigers. Yeah, I think the whole thing is that if the Detroit Pistons were the Detroit Bears, Their whole concept with 3 out of the 4 major sports is Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my! But I think the Tigers could be a surging team right now. They've won their last 2, but they got to get on the board against the Padres right now in order to stand a chance. But we're kind of prognosticating the final month. I think if Boston falters, I think this race stays put. The team that potentially could surge if they manage to find a stretch are the Tigers. But I think that we may already be in business for the playoffs in the American League.
Well, at Royals, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be mad if we end up hitting a losing skid because of some dumb shit that we're dealing with. I mean, I know that we just lost the Pasquatch to a broken thumb, but we've got the talent. But the problem is, we just need to stick to what we do best, and just keep the line moving, keep the pitching going. Don't worry about the little things. Just focus on the now. But yeah. What about the NL race?
Meanwhile, on the other side, right now, the San Diego Padres are up by a half game on the Arizona Diamondbacks, but that is also because the San Diego Padres have played one more game. And the Arizona Diamondbacks are also idle today on Labor Day. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 2.5 games up on the Atlanta Braves. The Mets are a game behind the last wild card spot. The Cubs are 3 games behind. The Cardinals are 5.5. The Giants are 6.5. And the next closest team are the Reds at 9. At 9 games out of the last wild card spot. So the question is here, more so, do the Braves hang on, or can one of the other 3 teams that are right there within contention, being the Mets, the Cubs, and the Cardinals, slip in and steal the last spot while giving chase to the Diamondbacks and the Friars? And by the Friars, I mean the San Diego Padres.
Right, I know. I was trying to reread that question so I could answer it in a proper way. Do the Braves hang on? Well, they've had a lot of injury troubles, and Austin Riley was one of the more recent ones. I don't know.
I'm in agreement that I think the Braves and a lot of the prominent Braves have spent more time in the infirmary than in the dugout.
I think that's a tough one because I feel like the Diamondbacks have a better chance with the Friars as well. The Diamondbacks with Corbin Carroll, if they can stay healthy, sure. But do the Braves pull a rabbit out of the hat and make some magic? We'll see. But I'm not hopeful with the Braves because of just their injury trouble, and we literally just got Yuli Gurriel from them like 2 days ago.
And the 2 teams that are right now surging up the race board, the Mets have won 4 in a row. The Cubs have won 6 in a row.
I feel like the Cubs could be better than the Mets because the Mets are just kind of the Mets. They have more bad luck than good luck.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, the Mets are right now playing the Red Sox, who are fighting for their playoff lives. The Padres are playing the Tigers. The Diamondbacks are off. And the Braves are off. No, the Diamondbacks lost to the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks actually lost to the Dodgers today. And then the Cardinals just lost, and the Cardinals lost to the Brewers, and the Cubs are playing the Pirates right now. So it is very interesting to see what kind of comes of this. And I'm wondering more so if the Cubs can kind of keep themselves surging. Because the Cubs could be one of those teams that I think could surge in out of nowhere and get that spot. Because the Cubs are a little too far back to really stand much of a chance in the NL Central race. But here are the total playoff odds for some of the teams that are in the wild card slot. The Twins are at 92%. The Baltimore Orioles are at 99.8%. They're clearly getting in. The Twins are at 92%. The Royals are at 75.1%. The Red Sox are at 16.9%. The Tigers are at 8.6%.
So 92%ers are the Twins, is what you're telling me. So are they big New Heights fans?
And theirs is also a 92 flat right now. But the Braves are at 76.5%. The Mets are at 28.6%. The Cubs are at 7.1%. And the Padres are at 95.6%, and the Diamondbacks are at 91%. So the odds right now look like that 3 teams in the NL West and potentially 3 teams in the AL Central, which has normally not been a division of good talent or really good record teams lately. The AL Central has just come out of nowhere.
Like Randy Orton?
What? Pretty much like a Randy Orton RKO.
Watch out! RKO! Straight out of nowhere! What the
nowhere! Oh my. But now we can move on to our stud and dud of the week.
I'll start off.
Yep.
Alright, and my stud this week is Bobby. For getting his gosh dang 30th homer, which makes him the first Royal in history to have 2 consecutive 30 home run seasons. God damn it, Bobby. And then my dud of the week is the Chiefs experiment with Louis Rees-Zammit, the Welshman from the rugby side of the universe that transitioned to be a running back. Is now over because both him and Deneric Prince got signed to different practice squads. Deneric Prince got signed to the Dolphins practice squad, and Louis Rees-Zammit got signed to the Jaguars practice squad during the cutdowns. So there you go with that for the dud. Spennis, fire away.
Okay, so my honorable mention goes to Shohei Ohtani for becoming the fastest player to reach the 40-40 club. Yes, the 40-40 club in baseball has gotten a new member, and his name is Shohei Ohtani. But my stud this week goes to Darren Baker. Now, the last name would give you some familiarity here. He was recently picked up by the Nationals as a second baseman. But more so at this point, he is the son of former MLB manager and recent champion of the Houston Astros, Dusty Baker. He got his first hit as a pinch hitter against the Chicago Cubs, and Dusty was in the stands for it. Darren Baker got in late and ended up with a base hit. And my dud is Tom Brady. Now you're thinking like, oh, why am I giving the one that everybody claims is the greatest quarterback in NFL history a dud here? He shot himself in the foot by getting caught between conflicts of interest as he agreed to being the partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, but then also has this broadcasting deal with Fox. This is making the NFL have to put strict restrictions for the former Patriots and Bucks quarterback that no doubt I believe will hinder the product for Fox NFL Sunday. And here are the access restrictions. He is prohibited from publicly criticizing game officials and other clubs. While Brady could, in theory, state that he disagrees with a call on air, he is subject to fines or even a suspension if he goes too far. He is subject to the league's gambling policy. He's subject to the anti-tampering policies. He is permitted only strictly social communication with members of other clubs, according to the slide that the league presented. They presented a slide called Brady's Broadcast Restrictions. This also says that Brady is not permitted to be in another team's facility, not permitted to witness practice, and is not permitted to attend broadcast production meetings either in person or virtually. The lack of access to coaches and players before games could be the most severe restriction, as those meetings at which broadcast crew meets with the matchup's head coaches and key players are often a lifeblood of insight on the telecast. This, to me, I think it is very much that I think that this is a very notable type of restriction. And they had to questions of the selling price of his proposed 10% stake. So there's very much of like different things. If it clears the committee, Brady's ownership stake has to be approved by 24 of the 32 owners. But before what turned out to be Brady's final season in 2022, he had agreed to a 10-year, $375 million contract to join Fox as an analyst once his career was done. Retired in 2023 and was set to begin at Fox all before he was having this pending ownership stake with the Raiders. So Tom Brady just got caught, or kind of got stuck in a situation of trying to do too much. And not just too much, but too much too soon in the span of time frames. How you feel on that, Ruckus?
On Tom Brady?
You know, on my usage of the dud here.
I think it was valid. Kind of sucks that he probably didn't read between the lines between being a football analyst for Fox and also owning partially the Las Vegas Raiders.
This is why you pay attention to the fine print.
Well, not everyone reads the EULA or
of course nobody reads the terms and conditions in the manual.
There's a reason why South Park made a human centipede thing with the iPads not reading the agreement. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
Take us out, Ruckus.
Thank you all for listening to the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. This is episode number 113, and that was a slow-mo version of my thing there. Anyways, we'll see you guys there. Have a good one. Remember, next week we will not have an episode, so we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks away. Deuce.